I'm Pat Doris. Welcome to The Story. I'm so glad you're here. Congratulations on making it to Friday. All the ways to contact us right there on your screen. You can email us. The address is thestory@kgw.com. You can also give us a call and leave us a voicemail. Our phone number is 503-226-5090. We love it when you connect with us and tell us what you're thinking about. We really do want this to be a two-way dialogue. We're starting in Corbett because we're going to be talking about power lines and trees and fire. And this summer could be the worst one yet.
But if the weather does turn and it has strong winds, low humidity, vegetation has low moisture content, and how our agency partners are positioning themselves, that is when we would have those criteria to say, let's turn off the power.
Bill Mesner is the Director of Wildfire Mitigation and Resiliency for Portland General Electric. He said the company is spending tens of millions of dollars to keep tree branches away from power lines because a broken branch could short out a power line, making it spark in the air and ignite other nearby branches, or take the power line to the ground where it sparks and creates a fire.
There is bare conductor, there is covered wire, which we call tree wire, and that is an insulation around the wire. So that is part of our strategy as well, but we're moving into that strategy. That is not going to happen overnight. This is going to take years for us to do those investments to minimize this risk for our community.
So there are some I think I heard what you're saying is there's some places that have that special covering when you know it's going through a lot of trees.
Right.
But there are other places that have old wire that doesn't have that yet.
That's correct.
The company recently released its high-risk fire zone map for 2022, and it's grown to include 10 areas. Each of those color markings on the map are locations where PGE will be watching to see if conditions are right for shutting off the power this summer. That bright green area in the middle is the West Hills of Portland. Looking to the left side of the map, you see it includes the Tualatin Mountains in light blue, then more areas just north of Highway 26, which PGE calls the Northwest Hills. Also the forest east and south of Forest Grove. And those brown areas are north of Sheridan and west and south of Willamina. On the right side of the map, it includes the Columbia River Gorge, the Mount Hood corridor, which stretches from Sandy up and over the mountain, areas north and east of Oregon City and south of Estacada and east of Silverton. 10 areas in all, covering as many as 30,000 customers. Each will be under scrutiny as a dry summer or fall storm approaches. It's a big change from just 2 years ago when PGE had one high-risk fire zone in Oregon. It's the one that stretched from the town of Sandy east to Mount Hood. And PGE used it and shut down power in that area during a hot windstorm in early September of 2020. And there were no fires in that area. But to the south, the massive Beachy Creek fire roared to life, pushed by the same hot storm. It raced through the Santiam Canyon and many other areas. The fire eventually covered 192,000 acres, destroyed 1,300 structures, and killed 5 people. Later, a class action lawsuit accused a second company, Pacific Power, of playing a role in the fire, arguing some of its power lines added to the blaze because Pacific Power did not shut down its lines. In 2021, the Oregon legislature required power companies to identify high-risk areas and establish plans to help keep them safe. And as a result, PGE now has those 10 areas on that map. Pacific Corp, also known as Pacific Power, also generated a similar map for 2022 and identified 13 areas. They're shown here in the yellow and include both rural and urban areas of Hood River, as well as areas west and south of Medford.
So these weather stations are allowing us to have really good situational awareness.
PGE is placing remote weather stations in each of its high-risk fire zones to get constant updates on conditions in each location. And PGE meteorologists and fire experts will monitor approaching storms from their new multi-million-dollar facility in the Portland area, where operators can kill power to specific locations with the push of a button. Bill Mesner from PGE says the communities that will be impacted will get warnings through the media and emergency alerts.
We will implement our incident command center about 7 days in advance, right? So we're seeing that weather. So we're starting to monitor it. We're not telling everybody what's going on yet because we don't know if it's going to happen. And then we have criteria that we would tell our public safety partners that, hey, this looks like it's going to happen. And then we're going to lean in and start telling our customers as well. And that's about 72 hours out. And then we do a 48 and 24 4-hour, and then, hey, your power's off.
By the way, PGE has a live map that will show areas that are under a wildfire shutdown. You're looking at it right now. We'll remind you about it as we get closer to summer. It doesn't show anything right now, but I did want you to be aware of it.